You know that feeling when something is wrong, but you can't quite put your finger on it? That cold little whisper at the back of your neck that says, something isn't right here. I know that feeling better than anyone, because I lived it, behind the wheel, alone, at 2 in the morning. And what I found out that night changed everything I thought I knew about people. Welcome to the UnknownFilesX, where real stories, dark mysteries, and hidden truths are told. My name doesn't matter. What matters is what happened to me. And I'm going to tell you every single detail, because somebody out there needs to hear this. It was a Thursday night in late October. The kind of night where the air is sharp and cold and the streets are just a little too quiet. I had been driving for Uber for about 2 years at that point. Part-time at first, then full-time after I got laid off from my warehouse job. It wasn't glamorous work, but it paid the bills. I knew the roads. I knew the city. And I thought I knew people. I was working the overnight shift out of Columbus, Ohio. If you've never been to Columbus at night, let me paint you a picture. During the day, it's busy, loud, full of college kids and office workers and food trucks. But at night, around 1 or 2 in the morning, it gets quiet in a way that feels almost personal. Like the city is holding its breath. Like it's watching you. I had already done about 11 rides that night. Some drunk college kids going home from a bar on High Street. A nurse heading to her overnight shift at the hospital. A quiet older man who didn't say a single word the entire ride. Normal stuff. Nothing unusual. My app was showing a slowdown. I figured I'd do maybe 1 or 2 more rides and then head home. I was tired. My back hurt. I had a thermos of cold coffee in the cup holder and a half-eaten granola bar on the passenger seat. I remember all of this clearly. Because when something terrifying happens, your brain takes a snapshot of every single detail right before it begins. That's when the ping came in. The pickup location was a residential neighborhood on the east side of the city. Not a bad area exactly. But not the kind of place you'd expect someone to need a ride from at 2:15 in the morning. Most ride requests at that hour come from downtown. From bars or clubs or late-night diners. Not from quiet little streets lined with split-level houses and minivans in the driveways. I accepted the request. The rider's name showed up as Daniel. 4.8 star rating. Nothing strange there. I pulled up to the address and waited. 1 minute passed. Then 2. I sent the standard text. I'm here. No response. I waited another minute. Normally, I give riders 5 minutes before I cancel. That's just policy. But something made me wait a little longer that night. I still don't fully understand why. And then the back door opened. He got in fast. Not running but purposeful. Like someone who had been watching for my car and moved the moment he saw my headlights. He was a man maybe late 30s or early 40s. Medium height. Dark jacket. He had a bag with him. One of those large duffel bags, the kind you'd take to the gym or maybe on a weekend trip. He set it on the seat next to him and pulled the door shut without a word. I glanced in the rearview mirror and said what I always say. Hey, how you doing tonight? Heading to Hilliard. He looked up. Made eye contact with me in the mirror. And then he smiled. It wasn't a warm smile. It wasn't the tired smile of someone who'd had a long night and was glad to be heading home. It was slow. Deliberate. Like he had practiced it. Like he was showing me something he wanted me to see. Yeah, he said. Hilliard. I nodded, put the car in drive and pulled away. The first few minutes of the ride were completely silent. I had the radio going low, just some late-night talk radio murmuring in the background. Usually I try to make conversation. Just light stuff. Ask about their night, talk about the weather, whatever breaks the ice. But something about this man made me not want to talk. Something in the air of the car had changed when he got in. It felt heavier somehow. I focused on the road. Checked my GPS. About 22 minutes to his destination. Then he spoke. You do this every night? I glanced in the mirror. He was looking out the window. Not at me. Most nights, yeah, I said. Pays the bills. Long hours, he said. They can be, I replied. I turned onto the highway. The city lights started to thin out behind us. The road got darker. You ever pick up someone and just know that something about them was off? He said slowly. I felt something tighten in my chest. I kept my voice casual. Can't say that I have. Most people are pretty normal. He made a sound. Not quite a laugh. More like a quiet acknowledgement. Like I had said something interesting. Like I had passed some kind of small test. Most people, he repeated softly. I said nothing. I gripped the steering wheel a little tighter. Now here is where I need you to pay close attention. Because this is where the night started to shift from uncomfortable to something else entirely. About 10 minutes into the drive, I heard it. It was faint at first and I honestly thought I had imagined it. A sound coming from the duffel bag on the seat beside him. A soft, rhythmic sound. Almost like breathing. Slow and shallow and muffled. My eyes shot to the rearview mirror. He was staring straight ahead, completely still. The bag sat there beside him, zipped shut. I told myself I was hearing things. Road noise. The ventilation system. My own tired brain playing tricks on me. But then I heard it again. This time there was no mistake. It was a soft, struggling sound. Not loud. Not frantic. But real sound coming from inside that bag. My heart started beating so fast I could feel it in my throat. I kept driving. I didn't know what else to do. I was on the highway. It was dark. There was nobody around. My mind started running through every possible explanation. A pet? Maybe he had a small dog in there. People did weird things with their pets sometimes. Maybe it was a cat that had shifted in its carrier. Maybe it was something electronic. A toy or a device. Maybe. But the explanation started running out when the sound came a third time, and it wasn't rhythmic anymore. It was desperate. Are you still with me? Because this is the part where everything changes. And before I go further, I need to take a second because this story gets darker before it gets clearer, and I want you right here with me. If you are watching this and this story already has you gripping your seat, go ahead and hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps this channel more than you know. And if you're new here, welcome to the UnknownFilesX. We tell real stories, dark mysteries, hidden truths. Subscribe right now and ring that bell so you never miss a single one. Drop a comment below and tell me, would you have kept driving or pulled over immediately? I want to know. Now let's get back to the road. I was driving at 65 miles an hour on a dark highway with a man I didn't know and a sound I couldn't explain. Every rational part of my brain was screaming at me. Do something. Say something. But the other part of my brain, the survival part, was saying something different. It was saying, be careful. Be very careful. Because you don't know what this man is capable of. I decided to test it. Hey man, I said, keeping my voice as even as I could. You got a dog in that bag? He turned his head slowly and looked at me in the mirror. That smile again. Slower this time. Why do you ask? Thought I heard something, I said. He looked down at the bag. Placed his hand on top of it. Like he was pressing down something. The sound stopped. It's fine, he said. Just some stuff that moves around. I nodded. Looked back at the road. My jaw was clenched so tight it ached. The GPS said 12 minutes to destination. I made a decision. I have a cousin who is a police officer. We're close. I have his number memorized because we talk all the time. Birthdays, holidays, random Tuesday phone calls. I know his number the way I know my own. I had my phone mounted on the dashboard. GPS was open. But I had another app running minimized. I had learned a long time ago to keep a recording app on standby during night shifts. Most drivers do. It's protection. Evidence if you ever need it. I opened it without looking down, just muscle memory. And then, keeping my eyes on the road, I navigated to my cousin's contact with my thumb and pressed call, holding the phone against the car speaker without putting it on Bluetooth. It rang twice. 3 times. My stomach dropped. Then he picked up. Groggy, clearly half asleep. Hey, what's going on? I spoke loudly and clearly. Hey cousin. Yeah, I'm driving right now. I'm on the highway heading toward Hilliard. I've got a passenger and everything's fine. Just wanted to check in. He said, you want me to stay on the line? Yeah, just keep me company for a bit, I said, casual as I could manage. I heard him sit up. I heard him getting alert. Okay, I'm here. I glanced in the mirror. Daniel was looking out the window. If he had noticed the call, he didn't show it. But something had shifted. The air in the car had changed again. And this time I realized something I hadn't noticed before. He wasn't looking out the window at the scenery. He was watching the road signs. He was tracking where we were. 4 minutes from destination. I was running through scenarios in my head. I could pull over on the side of the highway and tell him there was a problem with my car. I could keep driving and go straight to a police station instead of his address. I could take the next exit and stop at a gas station. A busy one. With lights and cameras and people. I chose the gas station. I signaled and took the exit. I heard him shift in the seat immediately. This isn't the way. His voice was different now. I know, I said. I just need to stop for gas real quick. Won't take a minute. I said this isn't the way. He leaned forward now. His voice was low as he got close. I heard you. My own voice came out steadier than I expected. I need gas or we won't make it to Hilliard. I could feel him behind me. Every hair on my body was standing up. Then he sat back slowly. Said nothing. I pulled into the speedway. Bright fluorescent lights. A few cars. A truck driver filling up at the far pump. Security camera pointing directly at the entrance. I pulled right under it and stopped the car. I kept the engine running. I said, loud enough for my cousin to hear through the phone, "I'm at the speedway on Route 40 off the east side. Just stopping for gas." I gave the address. I saw the truck driver look over at me. Then I turned around in my seat. And I looked directly at Daniel for the first time. He looked like a completely normal man. That was the most terrifying thing. Brown hair, tired eyes, a little bit of stubble on his jaw. He could have been a teacher, a contractor, a neighbor. He looked like someone's dad. His eyes were doing something I can only describe as calculating. Like he was running numbers. Like he was deciding something. "I'm going to need you to open the bag." Everything in the car went silent. Even the radio seemed to drop away. "Excuse me," he said. "The bag. Open it." "You don't have the right to ask me that," he said. "You're right. I don't, but I'm asking anyway. And my cousin is a cop and he's on the phone right now and he's heard everything I've said for the last 10 minutes. And there are cameras on this car right now." I pointed up at the speedway camera. "And that truck driver over there is looking right at us. So I'm going to ask you one more time. Open the bag." The silence stretched out so long I thought I had made the worst mistake of my life. And then he reached over. And he unzipped the bag. I want you to understand what I felt in that moment. It was the kind of fear that doesn't make you scream or run. It freezes you. It turns you into stone. Because you don't know what you're about to see. And your mind has already shown you 100 different terrible possibilities in the span of 3 seconds. He pulled the zipper back. And a small face looked up at me. A little girl. Maybe 5 or 6 years old. Tangled dark hair. Wide, terrified eyes. Tape over her mouth. Her wrists bound with zip ties. She was shaking so hard I could see it from the front seat. My heart broke and exploded and turned to ice all at the same time. I turned back to him. My voice came out in a whisper. "Who is she?" His jaw tightened. He reached for the zipper to close the bag. "Don't you dare." And then my cousin's voice came through the phone, no longer quiet, no longer trying to be subtle. "I've already called it in. Units are on the way. Keep him talking. Do not let him leave that car." What happened in the next 4 minutes is something I still see in my sleep sometimes. Daniel tried to open the car door. I had activated the child locks from my driver panel the moment I heard the first sound from that bag. He yanked the handle. Nothing. He tried again. His composure cracked completely and suddenly, like a mask falling off a face, and underneath it was something cold and desperate and ugly. He started telling me it wasn't what it looked like. He started telling me she was his daughter. That he had custody. That her mother had been trying to take her. That he was just trying to protect her. I looked at that little girl in the bag, packed into a duffel bag like luggage. And I said to him very quietly, "If she's your daughter, then you won't mind waiting for the police to sort it out." He went silent again. We sat there. Me, him, and that little girl. She was gripping my fingers so hard her knuckles were white. I kept saying softly, "You're okay. You're safe. I've got you, don't worry, help is coming." The police arrived in 3 minutes and 40 seconds. I counted every single one. Here's what I found out later, piece by piece, the way you always find things out in stories like this. Through news reports. Through my cousin. 3 weeks after that night. The little girl's name was Lily. She was 6 years old. She had been reported missing from a suburb of Columbus 14 hours before I picked up that ride request. Her photo had been on the news. On social media. In Amber Alerts that had been pushed to phones across central Ohio. I hadn't seen them. I had been driving all day, no radio news. And my phone was on Do Not Disturb except for the Uber app. I had been completely in the dark. The man I knew as Daniel was not her father. He was not related to her at all. He was someone who had been watching Lily's neighborhood. Watching her routine. And he had taken her that afternoon while she was playing in her front yard. His real name doesn't matter for this story. What matters is that he had put her in that bag to transport her. He had planned to take her somewhere in Hilliard. Somewhere I don't want to imagine. Somewhere she would never have come back from. He was arrested that night and was charged with kidnapping, child endangerment, and a list of other things my cousin read to me over the phone. My cousin called me and he said, "She's home. She's with her family." And I sat there for a long time and I didn't say anything. I just sat there. Because relief and terror are very close neighbors. And when something goes right by the thinnest possible margin, you feel both of them at the exact same time. I thought about every moment I could have done something different. What if I hadn't accepted that ride? What if I had canceled when he didn't come out right away? What if I had convinced myself the sound from the bag was just road noise and driven straight to Hilliard? Those questions don't have answers. They just have weight. And you carry them. Now I want to talk to you about something real. Something that goes beyond the story. Because this isn't just a scary night drive. This is about paying attention. About trusting that feeling in your gut that says something is wrong even when your brain is trying to rationalize it away. It is the oldest and most honest part of who we are. I almost ignored it. There was a version of that night where I turn up the radio. Where I tell myself the sound is nothing. Where I drop him off in Hilliard and drive home and go to sleep and never know what was in that bag. And Lily doesn't go home. That version of the night almost happened. And I think about that all the time. If you drive for a rideshare service, I need you to hear this. Learn your car's child lock system. Keep a recording app running on standby. Have an emergency contact whose number you know by heart, not just saved in your phone. Trust your instincts always if something feels wrong. And if you ever hear a sound you cannot explain, stop the car. But be smart about it. Before I tell you the final part of this story, I have to stop and say something to everyone watching right now. If it has gripped you, if it has made you feel something real, please take 10 seconds right now and hit that like button. It costs you nothing and it means everything to this channel. Every real story we tell, every dark mystery, every hidden truth, gets out to more people when you subscribe and share. Drop a comment and tell me what moment in this story hit you the hardest. Was it the bag? The gas station? The moment Lily looked up? Tell me. I respond to every single comment. About 6 weeks after that night I got a letter. No return address. Handwritten on plain white paper. It was short. Just a few lines. It said, "My daughter came home because of you. I will spend the rest of my life being grateful for this stranger who paid attention. Thank you." It was signed simply, Lily's mom. I have that letter in a drawer in my nightstand. I've read it more times than I can count. I read it and I remember why paying attention matters. Why showing up matters. Why choosing not to look away when something is wrong, even when it is terrifying, even when you are alone and tired and the rational part of your brain is offering you 100 comfortable exits. Why that choice matters more than almost anything else. There is one more thing I need to tell you. Something that took me a while to process. When the police reviewed the GPS data from my Uber app and cross-referenced it with the route he had given, they found something interesting. The destination in Hilliard. The address he had put in. Was not a house. It was not an apartment. It was an abandoned commercial property on the edge of town. A storage facility that had been closed for 3 years. No cameras. No neighbors. No foot traffic. He had used Uber as his method of transport. Because he didn't want his own car on any highway cameras. He had planned to use a random driver, someone who would have no idea what was happening, as an unwitting accomplice in the worst thing you can imagine. Daniel had done this before. My cousin told me that eventually. He didn't give me details. But he told me I was not the first driver he had requested late at night. The other drivers had completed their rides. They had driven to the destinations, dropped him off and gone home. I was the first one who heard the sound. And I was the first one who stopped. I drive differently now. I am present in a way that I wasn't before. I notice things. I pay attention to the weight of the air in my car when a new passenger gets in. I notice what they carry, how they hold it, and whether their smile reaches their eyes. I am not paranoid but awake. There is a difference. And every time I hear a ping come in on the app at 2 in the morning, I accept the ride, I pull up to whatever address is on the screen, and I wait for whoever is going to open that back door. My alert instinct gets activated. This is my story. The night I almost looked away. The night a sound in the dark changed everything. Stay curious, stay safe, and stay alert. I'll see you in the next one.